Today we are going to discuss the lesson number 17, which is the rate of reactions. So there are several reactions occur in our environment due to several causes, but for most of the changes, the cause is the chemical reactions. So if you take a ripening of a fruit, rusting of iron, digestion of food, all these things are due to the chemical reaction. So these things happens due to a chemical reaction. So if you take a ripening of the fruit, the enzymes in the fruit chemically changes, and enzymes in the fruit chemically changes the chemical compounds in fruit when it is about to ripe. And the digestion of food. So when you take food uh, and when it goes to the stomach, so you may have learned that HCl is in our stomach, and this HCl reacts with food, and so many enzymes like amylase, peptidase, those enzymes react on these food and digest them. So more complex molecules will become simpler molecules after the digestion. So all these things are, because you know that carbohydrates, proteins, all are chemical compounds. So it will be broken down into simpler compounds. Because if you take, if you uh, get a carbohydrate food which is full of carbohydrates, it will be converted to maltose or glucose after the digestion, because you know that carbohydrate is a polysaccharide. It is made out of glucose molecules. So once it is digested, so it will be broken down to its simpler form. And in manufacturing yogurt from milk, there are also you take actually an enzyme, lipase enzyme, not lipase, um, um, acidifying enzyme is reacting on milk and converting it to yogurt. And even burning of firewood, because firewood contains cellulose, right? So cellulose is finally converted to carbon. Ash means carbon. All the other chemical reactions that you do in the laboratory, like reactions of zinc with a dilute acid, reaction of sodium metal with water, uh, and another thing is ignition of petrol. So petrol is a hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbons are compounds that are made out of carbon and hydrogen atoms. So petrol is a hydrocarbon, so it can be easily ignited, right? So the ignition of petrol is also a chemical reaction, because this hydrocarbon is converted to carbon dioxide and water after the ignition process. And a blast of a cracker, that is also a result that's also a result of a chemical reaction. And there's a small exercise. You have to list down the fast reactions and slow reactions. So there are two types of reactions, which are some reactions are happening very rapidly, and some are very slow. Some take a minute, some take a second, some take an hour, and some take several days to for to change one compound to another. So we can divide these reactions as fast reactions and slow reactions. So if you take a ripening of a fruit is a slow reaction, and rusting of iron is also a slow reaction. But blasting of a cracker and ignition of petrol they are very fast, very rapid reactions. Uh, So when a chemical reaction occurs, as you know, uh, you have the reactants, and finally you will ended up in you will end up with new products. So reactants are used up and new products are formed. So if you take this reaction, uh, when you add calcium, HCl to calcium carbonate. So you know when you add HCl to a carbonate. So I think in the 16th, no, 15th lesson, the chemical reaction lesson, you um, did this reaction, if I am not mistaken. So we'll see what happens.